Right, so here we are. First thing we want to do is make sure the correct add-ons are on. So edit preferences, add mesh, and make sure extra objects and the ANT landscape are switched on. So what I'm going to start with is making the crystals. So we'll use the rock generator and make a handful of rocks, and these will be the basis of the crystals themselves. By default it makes them very tiny because we've scaled everything up with the setting up for 3D print. But we'll just make them small and then we'll scale it all up later. So first thing we want to do is make these rocks roughly the size and shape you want your crystals. They'll be quite random because we've just used a random generator, and then put all the rocks into a group. And that will be relevant later. Now just arrange them how you want them roughly. I'm just going to rotate and scale and change them, get a nice sort of formation. And then apply scale. This will change them quite considerably because of how the rock generator works. It uses displacement and things. So. And once you finish faffing around with these, it'll be on to the next step. So here you can see all the modifiers that's used. We don't need to worry about them too much. We're not going to be making any changes. We're just going to add an extra one, which will be the decimate modifier. We'll set it to planar, check this box at the bottom, and make about 30 degrees. You can, whatever you feel looks good. And then we'll be adding the same modifier manually to each of these rocks to get the nice crystal look. You have to do this manually because if you just copy the modifiers across, it copies all of them, and the rock generator works by making a different displacement for each of them. So if you just did Control L and copied them, then it would put the same displacement onto all of the rocks and they'd all just look the same. It doesn't take very long. And there I have my formation. I'm going to add another one in at the other side, just and once we've done that, we are going to make a base for them to stand in. And for that, we're going to use the landscape generator. I'll start by making a long, thin thing, and then we just play with the settings. Make something you like the look of. Well, one thing I'm doing here is I've set the mesh sizes and the subdivisions to be the same multiples of each other. That keeps your polygons even squares. And now I'm just sort of playing with various settings in it just to just get something suitable for the shapes of the rocks. Something I think looks nice. And once we've got a mesh that we like the look of, we go into edit mode. I'm going to select all the edges. All around the outside. What I will do with these is I just drag them down just a tiny bit and then I'll fill the space. You can grid fill or just normal fill and poke, just whatever you like. I can't remember what I did here, but yeah, grid fill. Just gives you a nice grid on the bottom as well. You can see, and we're making nice progress. We're getting there now. The next thing I want to do is add some smaller crystals. So here I changed my mind as to how I was going to do it, and I'm going to go and use weight painting in the end instead. This just makes a nice sort of soft edge with the vertices selection ready for when we do a particles system. It's not that critical, there's not going to be that many particles, so we don't want to overwhelm it. And just sort of play with it, just the reds are where there'll be most of the crystals spawning, and there'll be none in the blue areas. So once we've finished here, I'm going to set up the particles. A fairly low number, and this is why we put all the rocks into a group of their own. Now what I haven't noticed at this point is that the landscape is also in the same group, and that will need to be taken out. So yeah, move the landscape into the main collection and then all your crystals will magically appear. Set scale to something reasonable, play with the particle settings, and then we need to make some adjustments to get the crystals poking upwards, looking in the right direction. Check the rotation box, some random as you can see they're all lying down. I want them to stick up. I'm just going to try and have a little work out what I'm doing wrong here. There you go, just keep playing with the settings till you get the result you want, and you'll get there eventually. And that's looking spot on, apart from one thing. That's everything sticking out the bottom of the base. So, save. Before you go too far, and then we can start applying modifiers. Select everything, apply all. Going to convert the particle into mesh, and then we can just delete the particle instance. They'll all be there. There's another 20 odd rocks. So what I'm going to do here is add a cube. I'm going to use this as a boolean to slice off the bottom. So it needs to be longer and wider than the base. Apply the scale. And that looks about right. It's going to have a nice effect. Then you copy the modifiers, just use Control and L, and it copies everything across. After that, I zoom out and I scale it all up to the size that I want it. So zoom out so you've got the view of your print volume. Select all the objects inside, press S and just scale them up to a nice size. It can be as precise or not as you wish. I wasn't. It's just a size. Remember, each of the squares you see in the background, if you followed my setup, will be about 1 centimetre. So, the last thing I want to do is apply all the booleans, but I was having an issue. It won't let you. As you can see, modifier application is disabled for reasons. And what you need to do to fix this is select out them all, and go to Object, Relations, Make Single User, and that should fix this particular issue. There you go, see, Apply is now available. I can delete the cube, and that's it. We're all done. We have a 3D printable thing. A few little cleanup operations to do, but otherwise it's all there. I believe I split non-planar meshes in the cleanup, which might take a minute. Just give you computer time. And that's it. So thank you very much, and yeah, let me know if you give it a shot. See you next time.